Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule the Galaxy friends, welcome to an early morning episode. It's breakfast at Wimbledon, but it's breakfast with Star Wars. It is Joe and Alfie on chapter 349 of the Rule the Galaxy podcast. Welcome. Thanks for joining. If you're going to hop in on YouTube, go ahead, share some comments. We'll answer questions, anything like that while we're going live. And you can always follow us all over Rule the Galaxy or Rule the Galaxy SW, social medias, podcast, YouTube, everything like that. Thanks for joining. Alfie, how you doing this Saturday morning?
Oh man, it's a day. Last night was a little rough. We're
I
running
heard.
on no sleep, so
No sleep.
no sleep.
How late did you get home from the football game?
2 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
And then you had to work at 6:30 in the morning.
yeah.
Holy
So I had to be up
cow.
at 5:30. Yeah, it was a whole big glass of hot suck.
So it's like going back to college days, right? Like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
where you'd be like, "Hey, let's stay out on Thursday night and party."
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what's going on with my phone. Sorry, my phone's acting weird. Yeah, and then you had to go take a test
Mm-hmm.
at eight
Or like
a.m.
we had practice on Sundays.
Mm,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 7 o'clock Sunday morning, like 2 hour run. You,
gosh.
the smell of alcohol was
Mm. I
really strong.
Not that anyone needs to know this, but I remember those days when I was a high school basketball player
Mm-hmm.
and Saturday morning practices at
Yep.
7 a.m. or whatever. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You could smell the alcohol coming out of your pores as you
Yes.
were sweating. Yeah.
Hmm.
Joe and Alfie sharing the old days right here.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I think it was pretty reflective on my GPA, but so, but yeah, it was a rough night. It was in
Okay.
Evansville, 2.5 hour drive. Uh,
And you guys
this,
lost.
yes, we got absolutely destroyed. It was, as a Colts fan, I don't know so much about a Steelers fan, but you hate going into the playoffs without a really bad loss
Yes.
because it's just hanging there. It happens to a team every single year. And this was our just absolute worst game. We were half step off on every aspect of the game.
Yeah. Look, every year only one team wins the championship,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's right.
Everybody else goes home sad.
You just hate
Um,
to see like your worst game be your biggest game. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I know there's not much you can do about that, but in the stadium, driving to it, I mean, it was like Friday Night Lights. There's absolutely nothing around it, and just this big glowing beacon in the middle of nowhere. And it was so cold. I mean, yesterday was a pretty mild day, but the obviously we're 2 hours south, so maybe that was a little bit of effect. But
you
the
you
nothing to
know
cut the breeze.
you know what it's like, and people in other parts of the country know what it's like. Um, you get out in the country in the sticks in the
Mm-hmm.
Midwest. That wind hits differently. It
Yes.
it just is, and if you add any even tinge of wetness or
Mm-hmm.
dampness to go along with that, yeah, yeah, yeah. So welcome to Rule the Meteorological
Right.
Society. I don't know what we're doing here, but we're Joe and Alfie the Weatherman. Well, I'm glad you could make it. I'm glad you could be here. We wanted to get chapter 349 out of the way because chapter 350 this week,
That's right.
we're already getting some guests lined up. We're getting some comments and shout outs from some of our friends and guests that have been on with us in the past. So we appreciate that. So it ought to be a humdinger on Thursday night of this week. I hope the full crew, me, you, D Doc, and Brent, can all be there. But should be fun. We'll have some beverages, as you stated,
Mm-hmm.
and
It'll
try
be
to
a good
make it a
time.
good time. Celebration.
That's right.
And it's hard to believe that 100 episodes ago we had Steve Sansweet on, you and me.
Yeah, that's it. I was just thinking about that yesterday.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm really hoping it's tough. Steve Glosson, who is one of our usuals during our big celebrations, he's having a hard time. He's in the he's kind of like you. He's in mid move right now,
Hmm.
so his studio and all his stuff is kind of messed up. So I'm not sure. I always love to have Steve kind of be the default host basically when we do these big things, because I let him kind of run it and we just
Hmm.
bounce off of him. But we're seeing what we could do there, so we'll update if Steve can be with us. But not, as you mentioned before we hopped on, not a lot to talk about Star Wars, but there were a few touch points and items that I did see that had some good news, bad news, whatever.
Right.
Starfighter. Everybody's saying it's moving right along. Um, everybody's saying the filming's going well. The everything's going in a good rhythm and a plan right now.
Hmm.
Matt Smith is getting ready to film, or he just filmed his portion of it. I can't remember if
Right.
he's coming up or just happened. So that feels good that they're in a good spot,
Yeah,
and
they're
that
saying they're going to be done next month with the
yeah,
movie.
I mean that's crazy. So that'll give them what, over a year to really prep it
Hmm.
and get it
Yeah, because
ready and,
that's
and do it.
2027.
Yeah. So that's good. It gives me a little confidence, makes me feel good that things are moving along well there. I mean, let's face it, over the past 5 or 6 years, we have not had this conversation very often.
No,
Um, everything's usually, well, this, well, that. Right now, feeling good
I've
about
seen his
what's going on.
script. It's really great. It's the best script I've ever read,
But we're not doing it.
but we're not doing that. We got to hire another writer. Yeah, it's really odd that this has moved so fast. Is that because it's that good of an idea? Like it was easy to flesh out? Is it this an example? Say this cautiously, of having experienced people working
Mm-hmm.
on the film,
Yep.
not somebody that's used to making documentaries or YouTube videos or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really know. It seems to be a winning formula all the way around. No, then that's to say this movie could be total crap, but it's doing something that a lot of people have struggled with actually getting put onto film.
There are so many. I hadn't thought about this before, but our good friend Rick Prince, who we've met at ICCC a few times, and
Hmm.
he's just great in his Darth Maul and different characters that he cosplays. I would like to see them them being Lucasfilm slash Disney take some of those very experienced people who've been making fan films for the past 5 or 10
Hmm.
years and bring them into the mix with some present day experienced movie makers like Levy and others and
Right,
say, here's what we've been doing. Let us take some of our non-professional, non-big budget things and merge some ideas together with you experienced people who have the big budgets and see what we
right.
can do.
It's like that X-wing video I shared yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
People are losing their minds over Bob Iger saying, Disney Plus is going to have some short form AI. I get both sides of it, but to your point, if you can give some people who don't have all the experience the tools like that, and you can make a short, what was that, the Battle of Coruscant film,
Mm-hmm.
couple minutes long. I'm not really against that because I could see it as a tool to be used by people who don't have that experience but have an idea,
Right.
to where you could then say, hey, take this to somebody who can make this. See what I made with my laptop.
Right.
Now let's make a real thing out of it.
Well, you know, we've been doing a podcast and now a YouTube channel for 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're not professionals, but
No.
even people who are simpletons like us can make videos, right? We can make
Right.
things and put out. So think of the people who, again, using Rick Prince as an example, those people who've been doing this on their own, on their laptops, on their iPhones, and everything like that for however many years, because they've been doing it. Let's face it, people have been making fan films since the late 70s
Right.
when the first VCR cameras came out. What was that? Hardware Wars or
Mm-hmm.
whatever
And
those.
then the troopers.
Yes, I mean they've been doing that for decades. So there's talent out there. There's people who know the fandom, You mix that together with people who have the budgets, who have the background in actually making movies. I don't know. I'm just saying, instead of taking people who don't have a passion for it or who aren't used to doing things like this, maybe mix some of the best together and see what happens. So I don't
I
know.
like
We'll
it.
see where it goes. But again, exciting news that Starfighter is moving in the right direction. I will say I was a little bummed out. I see Ahsoka 2 is really, they've kind of wrapped, right? They've kind of got
Mm-hmm.
everything done for season
Yes, I
2,
have.
but I'm not seeing till August or September of next year that that's going to come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's
That
a
was a little bummer. I was hoping that'd be
yeah,
a spring.
it's a big gap for a TV show.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot more viz going on that they need to do that's going to take that much time, but if we had stuff filling that space, I would say that makes sense, but isn't Mall the only thing that we have that's going on before
Yeah, and
then?
that's next year. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's even spring or summer. I don't know the exact timing on that.
No, I
Well,
don't either. I just know it's next year.
so speaking of Mall, I did read an article. They said it's a sequel to the Clone Wars, a prequel to Rebels, but don't expect any Jedi showing up in it. I mean, do you think that story's burnt out? That storyline's burnt out because let's see, Kenobi we had Hidden Jedi. What other shows we had where we have Hidden Jedi going on? Have any of the rest of them? I'm trying to think back through. I mean, Rebels is a Hidden Jedi.
Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're like, hey, let's not go down that rabbit hole one more time.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the problem with the Hidden Jedi is it's hard to make them significant. I mean,
True.
it's not a far fetch of an idea that Maul working in the underworld is going to come across some hidden Jedi hiding out. But yeah, I think that story's kind of lost its luster.
And I think there's probably a lot of people who say I thought it was supposed to be Luke, Obi-Wan, and Yoda were the only ones left by the time we get to the original trilogy already. And now we're finding we keep adding more and more and more
Right.
into the mix.
But I think that you can take that with a grain of salt to mean of any significance. Yeah, there could be Jedi out there, but more than likely, most of them were Padawans. So can they pass on anything?
True.
A little bit. The big thing is, are they the chosen one? No, they're not. So do they have any chance against Vader or the Emperor? No, no, they
Yeah.
don't. So
And I guess we could add Skeleton Crew into the mix
yeah, right.
of hidden or lost Jedi.
Again, a great
Yeah.
character, and I liked him as the Lost Jedi, but he had minimal skills.
Yeah.
That's not trying to downplay his character. I think it was a great character. And I think that works in stories like that, and that's kind of where we lose our way in that dialogue. It's
Right.
not that they were necessarily the last Jedi, it's just that they were the last Jedi of any significance to
Sure.
overthrowing Vader and the Emperor.
Sure. You know,
My headset just died.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you lose me?
No, I got you now. Oh, your AirPods went out.
Dang it.
Well, while you're working on that, you just keep telling me if you can hop in and hear me because I can hear you. Um, I will go back to it. We joke about Jude Law being an A-list actor, but I can tell you that Black Rabbit, not a Star Wars show at all, but Black Rabbit. And if you want something darker, more intense, Black Rabbit, Jude Law was fantastic in it. So was Jason Bateman. So if you get a chance to see Jude Law where he maybe shows his chops as an A-list actor, and there's a list that the guys have given me of other things that I haven't seen of Jude Law that I need to do. So I will do that. While Alfie's fixing some things, we got our typical storyline where Oscar Isaac came out and said, "Hey, I'd come back to Star Wars, but that whole fascism thing. Not sure I want to be a part of Disney being fascist and firing Jimmy Kimmel." Uh, Alfie, if you're back,
Yeah, I think I'm back.
yeah, I got you.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good. Hey, we go with the flow here. But I was saying how I made a quick switch to where we're talking about how those Star Wars, I wouldn't even say Hasbro checks, I'd say the Lego checks are hard not to keep cashing. But Oscar Isaacs said he'd be open to coming back, but Disney and Lucasfilm can't be fascist. So
Yeah. So I guess he's not in the Avengers.
wow. And he wasn't in the movies where they took Finn out of the movie poster
Yes,
because
no.
it offended certain people, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Those checks probably aren't in a kitchen drawer somewhere, unsigned, right?
correct.
I imagine we deposited those.
Yeah, we
Look,
did.
man, you can have your political opinions. I get it. I get what you're trying to say, but man, what? I just don't understand why you have to say something like that.
Me either.
I get it. I get it. You feel like you have a platform. You're trying to take a stance, but it's not a good look.
No, it is
No,
not.
just like with the Finn deal, you you know you're not living in a glass house here, so
Yeah.
don't be throwing stones.
Well, I am old enough to say I was a big Indiana Pacers fan in the 1980s and the 1990s. And while I respected the heck out of Michael Jordan as a player, couldn't stand him most of the time because he destroyed the Pacers.
Hmm.
But let's face it, during that time frame, there was not a greater basketball player in the world than Michael Jordan. And when Air Jordans came out and when they took over the world and now they're, one of the largest selling brands in the world, Michael Jordan's quote was, "Hey, Republicans buy sneakers, you know, as well, right? They buy sneakers too." E- Even a guy like that was smart enough to say, "I'm not going to really bring my politics into this because this is a business. This is making money. Why would I offend one side or the other when I can cash big checks?" Um, so I don't understand. And I think we're seeing more and more. Well, I think we saw Jennifer Lawrence come out and say, "I'm not going to comment on this stuff anymore." I
Right.
think we've seen some other recent people in music and movies come out and say, "Hey, people aren't really going to listen to this kind of stuff. All it really does is alienate people."
Right.
So uh, I'm all, yeah, have your thoughts, have your theories, but as you stated, you can't live in a glass house. You can't cash the checks.
Don't be tweeting this from an iPhone. You know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's funny. Look, did I like Poe? Yeah, I like Poe. I thought that was a fun character. Would love to see something that made sense with Poe back. I think Oscar Isaac is a good actor. I I I've really come to in my older age not worrying. I mean, my favorite band is the Foo Fighters. I don't agree with Dave Grohl's political views 90% of the time, but I think he's an incredible musician and
Right.
I love the band. So really, it's, just live and let live and
Yeah,
just go enjoy life.
that's the
So
way I feel. Just keep it, to where this is an escape.
correct. Correct. So yeah, that was a fun little venture there. But I presently hold on to a copy of Master of Evil by
Hmm.
Adam Christopher. I've not gotten a chance to read it. Work has been hectic as can be, but I want to thank Star Wars and Disney and the book publishing company for giving me a copy of it. I've got to read it, but I've seen some really great things about it. It's Darth Vader searching for the power of the dark side virgins that he hopes can help resurrect Padme.
I like it.
Yeah. So I did read the first chapter or two, but I haven't got to jump in. Maybe this weekend I'll read a few more chapters and get into it. But the whole two job thing has really been keeping me away from doing things like reading. So need to jump into it. But man, I know Adam Christopher is a good author. I know this sounds like a good storyline. It's after Revenge of the Sith. So falls right in that meat and potatoes area that we always talk about, the meaty part between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So I'm going to jump on that. There's already reviews out there about it and everything like that. So hopefully I can give a review on it soon if I get a chance to read it. But I do feel like that's a good storyline to follow. More Vader, that time frame where we don't know what he's doing and what's going on. I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Oh yeah, I love the was it Rise of the Dark Lord? Yeah, that was a great book. Right after Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't wait to read this one.
Well, yeah, unfortunately they send me untransferable copies, so I've got things that I can open and I can't share. So you'll have to purchase this one, my friend, once to let you know how good it is.
Uh,
Um,
this is
let's
one that
see.
I will probably buy.
There you go. Well, yeah, it fits right into your follow up, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Those books that happened right around Revenge of the Sith were really good books.
Really good.
So, uh, another little news story: Galaxy's Edge. They're going to start having Life Day Chewy there during the holidays.
Everyone's favorite Wookiee celebrating everyone's favorite Star Wars holiday.
How crazy is that?
Mm-hmm.
That was something that's so banished in the Star Wars world, but it keeps showing up.
Right. Keep trying to bring it back.
Mm, it's crazy. I mean, they had a Black series of that character, right?
Was it a black? They had something at Galaxy's Edge of that character. I'm not sure what exactly. I can't remember exactly what it
Might have been a
was.
vintage 3 3/4, but it still was a Life Day Chewy. So
Mhm.
that's pretty wild. So again, for that conversation, if none of you have watched the holiday special, and I know if you probably listen to this show, you have probably at one point in time watched the holiday special. Chewy in a big red robe carrying a orb. Yeah, that's what we're gonna get at Galaxy's Edge. So I'm glad to see they're mixing that all in. It's so funny that it went from being Batu during a certain time frame,
Right.
right, to now you're spreading across all kinds of eras of the Star Wars universe, and you're even throwing in non-canon stuff like the holiday special.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it did show up in Skeleton Crew, so
It did, yeah.
the circus is canon now, I guess. Didn't they talk about Life Day in
And
Rebels?
Mandalorian,
Yeah, in Mandalorian.
yeah. Hmm. I don't know how crazy it would be if we get a refresh on that. Let's see. Talked about Galaxy's Edge. Talked about Maul, no Jedi being in there. Master of Evil. We're going through the checklist. Um, again, we talked about Visions. I'm going to try to buzz through that before the 350th, just for me to make sure I've seen all of that, and then also the new Star Wars Lego that I have not watched yet. Need to check that out. So I'm going to try to buzz through those this week before we get to our 350th show on Thursday. You haven't really jumped in all those either, right? You just
Watched the Ronin
yeah.
episode of Visions. And evidently I didn't. I only watched the first episode of season 2. Because I went back to see and none of it was watched. So
Really? Okay.
sorry about that.
Well, it's like I said, for Star Wars, I think it's great that there's something different for every person who likes Star Wars. You know, some people are books, some people are games, some people are comics, some people are anime. Great. Let's have a little bit for everybody to bring them into the bigger tent of the Star Wars universe. So my theory that because we're doing a short show today, but I wanted to get your view on this. In our chat, you guys saw me kind of just explode and go off on being a Steelers fan. I've already done it on the show, but in our chat, I really let my feelings go. And I think you missed it. You caught up the next day when you saw it all show up. Um, Brent brought up a good topic in there saying replace the word Pittsburgh Steelers with Star Wars. and you could kind of have the exact same argument.
Yeah, that's the way I said that. The way you feel about the Steelers is the way I feel about Star Wars.
Yeah.
It I get so worked up about it because I care so much about it.
My
And I have to
thought,
stop myself and say, why? Why,
yes.
why do you care so much? Why do you let it affect you?
So my theory to go along with that is exactly what we were bouncing around in there is Star Wars was a phenomenon in the late 70s, early 80s. It took over the world for a 6, 7 year period, right? I mean, it was in every part of our culture for 6 or 7 years. And then it died off. So the people who got to experience that phenomenon, it means so much to them. It's such a part of their lives. And people will say, well, then there were the prequels, and that means so much to a bunch of people. But I would venture to say that it it meant a lot less in the culture than the original trilogy did. And it really meant a lot to the people who were already fans and then their kids. Like they brought their family or their kids into that because it was they were trying to make it there. And then let's face it, sequels, while they had good money on the very first one and it tailed off as we saw from there, it didn't have that cultural phenomenon that the original trilogy had, lesser with the prequels. Steelers were the same way. Steelers were a phenomenon in the 1970s because they won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years and it took over society, right? Like everybody talked about Steelers, either hated them or loved them. And then they died off. The 80s, they were terrible. The 90s, they were kind of relevant, but not the same. The early 2000s, they had a little blip on the radar. So it's kind of like the prequels showing up again, right? There's a blip on the radar. They came back into culture, but I'm of the theory that once the Steelers fans of the 70s die off, and once the Star Wars fans of the 70s, early 80s die off, neither one of those things are going to be as prominent in the world or in society as they once were. If things are going to replace them. And then you add Brent's theory of how splintered the entertainment world is now. I'm not sure you can recapture that, especially, the Star Wars side of things. I'm not
I
sure you can
disagree with
recapture
that.
that. Huh?
You can. You can. And the example I give, and Brent always says, well, it's not the same because kids don't play with toys and they aren't into this and that, blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. That's not true. I had a 6-year-old son when The Force Awakens came out.
Mm-hmm.
All the kids, no, I'm not going to say all the kids, but the kids were excited about Star Wars. They all had Star Wars toys. They
Mm-hmm.
all wore Star Wars shirts. That movie recaptured, you know, a lot of it and had a chance to restart it. And it fizzled out. We don't have time to get into all that, but it's like you were saying about the blip with the prequels. It's hard to explain to people how big episode 3 was when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was everywhere. You couldn't turn on the TV without a commercial, without a music video. Sirius XM, the orchestra channel was playing Star Wars music nonstop. It was everywhere. I mean, that movie played in the theater so long. I remember the Wookiees commercials. Like, go back, see it one more time just for the Wookiees.
And you're right, because while Enzo was 6 for Force Awakens, Joey was 6 for the Phantom Menace. And I remember him wanting that. But then again, you and I are both Star Wars fans from the 70s and the 80s. Did we bring that into them? Whether do you think as many other kids who weren't our kids or kids of grandkids of people from the 70s were as into it as people like our kids?
I don't know. It's hard to say it, but I mean, ep- episode 1, however you feel about it, made $1 billion in
Yeah.
1999. So it's kind of hard to downplay that.
You know,
Those 3 movies, however you feel about them, were really successful. I mean,
And even though you and I were fans of the 70s and the 80s Star Wars, does that Phantom Menace music video on MTV stand out to you as one of the most influential things you've ever seen in the Star Wars universe? Because
yeah,
to me, that,
I couldn't turn it off.
right. Yeah. The music, the action, the cuts of the action blew me away in that video.
That's where I dismiss a lot of people who say, "Oh, it wasn't that blah blah blah." Dude, this was pre high speed internet.
Yeah.
You had to people were going places just to watch that because you couldn't watch it at home.
Yeah. So you're saying, and it's giving me hope. You're saying that we can rekindle. You're saying that we can recapture
Of course you
Star
can. You
Wars.
you just need a Ben Roethlisberger to come along and have a solid decade of football.
So we need so with us having this hope and energy towards Starfighter, the way it's pushed through, the way it's got a lot of buzz going on, the way it's got star quality to it, the way it's got experienced directors in it. Your feeling is, because I feel like I could go take Lori or Maddie or Emily and say, hey, we're going to go see the new Ryan Gosling movie. Oh, by the way, it's a Star Wars movie.
There's one thing about our society right now that, and I don't know, maybe it's going to come off the wrong way, but basically everybody hates the way things are now. Everything is forgotten within 5 seconds.
We
You
are a
bring out
throwaway.
something good
Yeah.
that is going to be a concrete pillar for people, just like The Force Awakens was at the time. That's, hey, this is what I want to see, and it'll come back. You can make every excuse you want, but you make a movie like Top Gun Maverick, and the theaters are full because
Hmm.
people watch it and say, you know what, this is the movie I want to see. I like the way you made this movie. I like the plot. I like the structure. I like the way it looks. I like that we're not like delving too far into the weeds about, society, social constructs, all that stuff. I just want to be entertained for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I want it to be fast and loud and beautiful.
My wife loves Force Awakens. She can
My
watch it all
wife
the
loved The
time.
Force Awakens. She said when we left the theater, you know, it doesn't matter that that was Star Wars. That was just a really fun, good movie.
See, yeah, you're giving me hope, Alfie. You are giving me hope. Maybe, maybe we take all those people who were fans of the Clone Wars, the prequels, the initial run of the sequels before they fizzled out. Maybe there is enough to build on if you, like you said, put the right film in the theater. I I'm gonna have hope then. That's why I'm gonna. You know what? Starting with episode 350, we're going with Rule the Galaxy: A New Hope. There we go.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I know you got to break away here. Any other thoughts? Any other things you want to hit on before we go?
Just real quick. I don't know. I know I shared them in the wrong format, but did you get a chance to watch those clips I sent of this mystery possible 4K restoration of the original trilogy?
I did. It was coming up weird. I don't know if I was missing it was just my phone or if it was something else. I mean, I saw things, but what was I missing in there? What were you seeing? Because I mean, I opened them, they just seemed to clip and go, and I'm like, what am I missing in this?
So that is supposedly an actual restoration of the original trilogy,
Okay,
non-special edition.
I look, I would be all for that. You know that we've had the we've had the Justice League that went 4 hours, right? The we have the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings movies. You want to put restorations of the original trilogy out there, and you and I know there's probably how many scenes that got cut, didn't put in there, all that. Give me the extended, give me restored everything without the special edition.
Right.
I
So we'll
I
have
would
to wait and see. But
and
I
that's
keep seeing
2027,
little
right?
blurbs. Yeah. What's that?
That's for 2027, right? When
Yeah,
they're talking about
that's the
bringing those
rumor.
out.
That's the rumor. And it's I read a few weeks ago IMAX has already said that A New Hope is in IMAX
Nice.
in
Oh,
2027.
look, we went and saw the special editions when they just, the 40th anniversary of each one of them, right? They just came out again, and we said, okay, we're going to go check those out. Star Wars: New Hope and Empire, or New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and Empire. So if they do it with the original film, clean it all up, maybe add in some things that were cut on the floor, I'm 100% in. I want to go check that out completely. And I think they saw how many millions did they make when they released those weekend long versions.
Yeah.
Uh, it's easy money. It's money for the taking. And as Lucas did in the past, take all that money you make from those profits and go use it on the next big thing.
Right.
So now, real quick before you go, Great Ohio Toy Show is in March, end of March,
Right.
I think.
Yep.
So that has to be on the agenda. And then Steel City Con is in April.
I like it.
So we need to, hey, Michael Nip, thank you for joining, Michael Nip. Always good to see you. Michael Nip will be a guest on our 350 show. He's going to hop on for a few. So, Michael, thank you. So I know DDoc has a little one on the way. We're going to see if we can work around that and get a meetup to where me, you, Brent, him, I'll meet up on one of those two things and get together, because if not, I don't know when the next meetup's going to be. And I know we talked about Celebration 2027, but man, that's so far away. I want to
It
get
is.
the crew together before
Yeah.
then.
We need a weekend.
Yeah, we need a weekend. Now, my wife loved the idea of Orlando, Galaxy's Edge, and Disney between now and then for a long weekend. I said, well, we can always look at that as well. I was just trying to think of cheaper versions where we could all drive to and meet up. So, and not stay in a bad hotel. All
I
right.
want
Well,
to keep my
cool.
kidneys.
That's that's right. No bed bugs. Hey, thank you for joining. Thanks for being here early on the morning. And here we go. D-Doc populating the planet on his own. Oh, Mr. Nip. He's keeping the Red Hair Society going all on his own. That's what he's doing. So Alfie, thank you for doing this. I know you got to get back to work. Everybody, we will be doing chapter 350. We're going to have guests come on. We've already got some people sending some shout outs to us. We'll probably have some more. But it should be fun of different friends coming on and off of the show. If you listen to us, if you watch us, please do me a favor, send some questions or some topics you want us to cover. It's going to be kind of big tent, big picture things. Talk about some of our favorite things, some of our memories, all that stuff with it being a slow time in Star Wars. So, um, it'll just be a good fun time. And I promise Alfie I'll partake in some beverages with him while we do the show. So,
Like a plan.
yeah, it ought to be fun. Joe with beverages during the Rule of the Galaxy could be silly. So, everybody, Michael Nip, thanks for joining us live. Everybody who's listening on the podcast, remember Thursday night coming up. What will that date be, Alfie? Do you know?
No, I don't.
I'm going to find out real quick, just so everybody knows.
20th?
Thursday the 20th, which is Ryan Massengale's birthday. We'll be celebrating Ryan Massengale's birthday. Thursday the 20th, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll go live, maybe 8 p.m. Eastern. Just all depends on what's going on in our lives. 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern, Thursday the 20th, 350th episode. We'll see what all guests we can get to come in and come out, and we'll just have fun and be silly during that time. But thanks for everybody who's listening. Alfie, thanks for hopping on and dealing with your technical issues. You worked right through it, and that's all I got. So
It's what we are, professionals.
that's right. We'll see you guys all Thursday night, the 20th, and we'll celebrate 350 then. Thanks for everybody joining in. And until next time, may the force be with you.